Hello, team. This is Mark Kimler. I'm with Family First Life Midwest out of the Detroit, Michigan area. Just to tell you a little bit about me, my highest monthly IP has been right around $50,000. Currently, I am ranked at a diamond level. Last month, my issue paid was a little bit over $42,000. I have been with Family First Life probably the last four or 5 years, but kind of fell away from it a little bit and was the last 2.5 years really back on pushing forth on building a business. Today I got tasked with the topic of products. So I'm going to go over the basic ones. Our bread and butter is mortgage protection and final expense. There's going to be other things that I'm going to talk about today, but we always need to remember that our bread and butter is mortgage protection and final expense. If you back up a little bit and look at our carriers that we have a lot of choices, a lot of options. I like to keep stuff very simple. As a firefighter of 26 years, I've learned that simplicity is very easy to pass on and hopefully be able to allow everybody at whatever level they're at to be able to grasp the concept. So our number one company that I go to when I sit down with people, I'm always thinking Americo. Americo offers us a lot of different options. They offer us HMS, which is a home mortgage series. They offer us Eagle Premier, which is a final expense policy or a whole life policy, and they also, along that, have an Alta Protector policy. Eagle Premier is great because when you're sitting with them, you can actually jump on your tablet, jump on your laptop, whatever you have, and be able to get them approved so that when you walk out the door, they have the coverage in place. They also offer a UL product known as LifeCrest. So Americo does have some other products that we'll briefly mention later, but they do have a product for Medicare supplement also. If they don't fit in Americo, generally I'll go to Transamerica at that time. Transamerica has two different levels. They have one that's called Preferred, and they have one that's called Standard. Preferred is basically the top one that allows somebody that really doesn't have any medical conditions to get a little bit better of a price. Standard's not bad, but Standard is somebody that needs one strike. I sit with a lot of people throughout the year that need a strike. The biggest one that I put into Transamerica is people that have COPD. So that allows me to be able to get them a standard rate, which is an immediate policy. Preferred and Standard are immediate policies. It's not a graded policy. If for some reason they get denied with Transamerica and they cannot get approved on that, and even if Transamerica offers them a graded policy, I won't accept the graded policy because I can get them an AIG at a cheaper rate. Transamerica's graded policy is quite expensive. So if I had to stack policies, I might consider that, or age-wise, I might consider it. I have done that before, that somebody was under the age of 50 and they needed a graded policy, and at that time I did put them into a trans. But normally, if they're 50 or higher, I won't accept Americo's graded policy. I won't accept Trans's graded policy. I'll just go to AIG and put them in an AIG policy. So those are the three basic carriers. Now, I know we have like 15 total carriers, so I know we have different options, and I'm not going to go into all of the different reasons why you might switch over to Mutual Omaha, or you might switch over to Royal Neighbors, or you might switch over to Foresters. Because of time, I don't have time to go through all of that. But what I will do is explain that there is basically four topics that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is mortgage protection. When I sit with people, they're trying to protect their mortgage. Now, when I first got into this business, I always tried to just tell people, well, this is what it's going to cover this is what it's going to cost to cover all of your mortgage. And I never really got taught or saw the value of showing them not only what the cost is for all, but part or even payments. And over the years, I've changed that because sometimes people, their budget doesn't allow them to cover it all, but maybe they can cover half of it, or maybe you're just buying them 3 to 5 years of payments so that their spouse will have time to figure it out. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, when somebody dies in your family, you need time to figure it out. When my son died last year, 4 days after his 21st birthday, one of the best advice that I got from somebody was when they told me, when something like that happens, do not make any haste decisions for the first year after the death, because you're not thinking properly. And there was a lot of wealth of knowledge in that comment right there, and I heeded to it. So mortgage protection, sometimes their budget won't allow you to cover the whole thing. Don't take it personal. It's not your fault. Their budget just won't allow it, but you can show value in covering part of it or covering payments. Sometimes you don't have to cover all of it anyways, because maybe they have income coming to the house that's 50-50. And if they lose the other person, they're going to lose half of the payment basically, so they don't have to cover the whole thing. Maybe half the house mortgage would be enough. The second thing, so with the mortgage protection, I'll always start off with an Americo HMS 120 or 150. Those are the two that I go to. Obviously, you're going to try to do cash back if at all possible and the budget allows it, because why wouldn't you want to get all your money back? I definitely would. So the second thing would be final expense. Again, from experience, I can tell you, I don't care what other people say. Burials cost about $15,000. At least that's what I can tell you that mine cost for my son a year ago here in the Michigan area. So maybe in certain areas it might drop down, but you are the expert. When you sit with people, they're looking to you for direction. So when I sit with people, I always tell them, well, listen, burials generally run $15,000 right now. I don't know when you're going to pass away, but I can tell you the rate's gone up. They always go up. When I first got into this business, they used to say burials were $8,000 to $12,000. Then they went to $15,000 to $20,000, and that's really what the rate is right now. They went from 8 to 12, then they went from 10 to 15, then they went from 13 to 17, and right now it's pretty well 15 to 20,000. And what I tell people is, I don't know when you're going to pass away. If you pass away in 10 years from now, I can tell you 15,000 isn't going to be enough. So I always encourage people. I treat everyone like their family. I always encourage people to try to get as much as they can, because we don't know when they're going to pass. The third thing that we do, and I have done a lot of that the last month and a half, and that is retirement money, transferring it into annuities. When you sit with people, never, ever, ever forget that golden question. I don't care if you're scared to death and you don't know much about annuities. Just ask them, what do you have that is life insurance or acts like life insurance? There's going to be times that you sit with people and the life insurance is not going to make sense. They have a lot of assets, and for you telling them $200 a month to get $15,000 or $20,000 of coverage might not make sense. I give you an example. The last month and a half, 3 different people I sat with. The first person, she didn't feel life insurance made much sense. She had good health. We could have got it to her, but she had enough assets that would have covered her mortgage easily. So instead, I looked at her, what she had in a couple different retirement accounts, and we moved about $335,000 into 2 different annuities, a qualified and a non-qualified. So we didn't put life insurance on her, but we protected what money she did have and was able to give her a nice bonus. The second person I sat with that I'm thinking of with this example, he didn't really see the value of the life insurance. He had $177,000 in a orphan account from years ago, didn't really do much with it, didn't keep up with it, but he did know that he was losing money in it. So we rolled that over into an annuity there with a theme and got him a bonus and secured his money so that he can never lose any. He loved that. Sat with another lady, wrote a policy on her, but in the process of writing a policy, I asked her that question, and she had $117,000 that we wound up rolling in. So the last month and a half to 2 months, I have done about $700,000 worth of annuities, a little over $700,000 in annuities. So, again, it is great. Our bread and butter is life insurance. Never forget that. But there's nothing wrong with, while you're in there, finding out and helping them in other areas. And don't be scared to ask them, what do you have that is life insurance or acts like life insurance? Reach out to somebody and get some help if you need to. I remember when I first started doing it, the only thing I did was said, man, we got a department that handles all of this. If you could just give me a statement or take a copy of a statement, I'm gonna mail it off to them. What they do is they look at what you have. They'll send back some suggestions. If I can improve your situation, they'll go ahead and make the recommendations. If I can't, they'll let me know, because I cannot put you in a worse position than you are right now. So if I can show you some options right here that will allow you to get anywhere between a 5 and a 12% bonus, it guarantees you that you won't lose a penny of principal or interest, and gives you a decent return on your money. Is that something that might interest you? Yes. Okay. Well, listen, give me your statement right now. I'm going to come back next Tuesday at 8 o'clock with some suggestions for you. We can sit down, and if it makes sense for you, we'll go ahead and we'll do the paperwork and get the money rolled over for you and get you the transfer bonus along with the security that you're looking for. See, that's not that hard to do. Early in my career, I was scared to do that because I didn't understand it. Now, obviously, I understand it, and I'm able to write a lot more annuities, but beyond what I make on it, I'm able to help more of my clients. The more things I can offer them and help them, the more valuable I am to them. The last thing that I'm just going to touch on briefly is, Americold Mutual of Omaha are 2 of the top companies in regards to Medicare Supplement. We have the ability to go out there and sit with people, and help them out with their Medicare Supplement needs right there. So don't look at a client or a lead is only for what they filled out, because if I would have just viewed those 3 in particular that I'm thinking about as just for what they filled out, I would have walked away with a $100 a month policy from the one lady that had $117,000. That's all that I would have walked away with. Instead, I walked away with that along with over $700,000 worth of annuity money. So hopefully that gives you something to think about. Hopefully you realize that this is an awesome company that gives us awesome carriers, that when we sit with people, we can just about protect everybody that we sit with. That's what I love doing. It doesn't mean that we're going to protect everybody, because sometimes people just don't see the value or they don't want to spend the money. But remember, if you show them on how they can add value to their portfolio with some of these options right here and or save money, that's always an added bonus. So hopefully you were able to get some different information today, and definitely don't miss this week with Golden State coming up here in a few minutes. Make sure you plug into that and really see how the team overall is doing. Take care, and I hope that you all have a great week.